The military has some of the most advanced technologies in the world. Many of these technologies remain top secret. But today, we'll be taking a look at amazing declassified technologies you wouldn't believe actually exist. Join me as we take a look at the top 15 most advanced military technologies. Number 15, Future Force Warrior. Starting things off is an entry that kinda sounds like it's straight out of the latest Call of Duty game, but maybe that's where the inspiration came from. Because the suit known as the Future Force Warrior is exactly what it sounds like. The design itself takes an already existing uniform and just kicks it up a notch. The main focus of the Future Force Warrior is the dynamic armor. It's about an inch thick, but the material is a lot more effective than most of the modern armored vests we see today. At rest, it uses a magnetic rheological fluid that's similar in density to oil, and so clings firmly to the wearer's body, like a Hydra suit. But when the soldier gives the command to the suit, a magnetic field activates and the liquid becomes hard as rock in just 0.001 seconds. So if you blink, you'll miss the change entirely. And that's the point, because the Future Force Warrior needs to be ready and protected at the drop of a hat, or even faster. But things don't end there, because the engineers behind the project are hard at work with other materials like polyethylene glycol and Nenbit silica to turn whoever wears it into a walking shield, because these substances will harden the moment they're hit. And the harder the hit, the more it reacts. Sure, it looks a little goofy, but you're gonna look even goofier when you're hurt. Number 14, Lightning II. Also known as the F-35, the Lightning II is an awesome multi-role fighter from none other than the team as Lockheed Martin under the Joint Strike Fighter program. The Lightning II is meant to replace the US military's AV-8B, A-10, F-16, and F-18 warplanes, and is so popular that it was even exported to several foreign allies. So what exactly makes this jet so well-liked? Well, for starters, it's smaller than many of its predecessors, with just one engine, meaning it's faster with better maneuverability, but can also exploit the latest stealth technology by reducing its radar cross-section, making the Lightning II incredibly tough to detect. The Lightning II performs just fine during air defense missions, as close air support, and during a tactical bombing. Plus, it's compatible with all the latest air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles, so it never misses a beat, or a target. The Lightning II comes with 3 variants, the F-35A, B, and C. And while they all may have some slight differences, they do have one thing in common. They all use the most powerful fighter engine ever developed, and enemy combatants have all had an incredibly tough time shooting one of these fighters out of the sky. Number 13, M1 Shredder. Part tank, part bulldozer, all insane. The M1 Shredder is a favorite of both the United States Marine Corps and Army, using the beefy chassis of the M1 tank and replacing their M1 Grizzly. The M1 Shredder lives up to its name, seeing as how it's an assault breacher vehicle. The Shredder serves as a utility vehicle and is going to ram through pretty much everything and anything in its path. It's a pretty rough and rugged support vehicle, but can also tear the place up in other ways too. Remember, it's still a tank, so it's also packing a nasty machine gun, smoke grenades, and it can reach a top speed of 43 miles per hour. So when the smoke clears and you're greeted with a bulldozer firing giant bullets at you, you better raise that white flag. Number 12, V-22 Osprey Tilt Rotor. The V-22 Osprey Tilt Rotor is the first production tilt rotor aircraft to take to the skies. This crazy hybrid military vehicle can land and take off vertically, just like a helicopter. But when it's airborne, it can transform into a turboprop aircraft that flies faster, farther, and at higher altitudes than any typical helicopter. This also makes it the perfect vehicle to get in and out of some pretty tight and contested areas, seeing as how it doesn't need the long runway a normal airplane would require. But the V-22 Osprey's biggest claim to fame these days is that it serves on the escort fleet for Marine One, which is the helicopter that carries the President of the United States. But the V-22 Osprey is big too, and can carry up to 24 fully equipped troops, all armed and ready to go at the drop of a hat. It has an operational height of about 25,000 feet, or 5 miles up in the air, and it's a mean top speed of about 350 miles an hour. Something that moves that quickly, carrying that much around, has to stop for refuels all the time then, right? Well, actually, this military vehicle is capable of refueling mid-air. It can even tuck in its rotors like tucking in a car's rear-view mirrors to make it more compact for storage. Number 11, Talos. Leave it to the United States to have access to one of the craziest, most advanced military uniforms out there. Short for Tactical Assault Light Operator Suit, Talos is made up of about 800 different parts and 26 powerful armored plates. But don't let all of that armor fool you, because all of that extra weight isn't going to slow the soldier down at all. The suit itself is also an exoskeleton that will make them stronger and more agile, so they can handle all of that extra armor of Talos. Much of the specifics of Talos are kept tightly under wraps, but we do know that the plates will be, all things considered, relatively lightweight, made of a metal composite alloy. It may be a fair assumption to say that it will make the wearer essentially bulletproof and immune to any shrapnel or small-scale blasts. But on the off chance that the person inside does manage to get themselves injured, the suit has a special inbuilt air cushion that reacts to the trauma and presses tightly against the body, stopping any blood loss until a medic arrives. The suit also comes with a thermoregulation system, and the helmet has multiple lenses that can give real-time analysis of the environment with augmented reality. Anyone wearing this is going to become a human tank, which is always a bad thing for the bad guys. Number 10, F-22 Raptor. keeping up with the scary nicknames is another amazing aircraft from the folks at Lockheed Martin, the F-22 Raptor. Employed by the United States Air Force, the F-22 Raptor entered service in 2005, and at the time was unmatched by any other aircraft. The F-22 Raptor proved its worth just 2 years after its first appearance, when two were scrambled to intercept Russian bombers at the Elmendorf Air Force Base. It's a force to be reckoned with for sure, and a mighty stealth fighter at that. The F-22 was specially designed to be incredibly difficult to detect and track by any radar under any circumstances, and its airframe shape and fixed geometry serpentine inlets and curved vanes prevent line of sight of the engine and turbines from any exterior view of the aircraft. The frame is also made up of plenty of radar-absorbent materials, and even the pilot's helmet provides a minimal radar return. This prehistoric predator has decreased radio emissions, infrared acoustic signatures, and has an all-around reduced visibility to the naked eye. And then there's its ability to mitigate heat-seeking surface-to-air and air-to-air missiles. So even if you do manage to see it, the F-22 Raptor can easily outsmart even the best equipment money can buy. And even then, it can reach supersonic flight, so it's not going to be seen unless it wants to be. And we promise you it does not. Number 9. Quantum Stealth Camouflage. When it comes to military uniforms, camouflage can be incredibly important and gives soldiers that extra edge for when they need to move about undetected. And so while the next entry on our list isn't technically a military uniform or suit, it's still incredibly cool and powerful. The Quantum Stealth Camouflage looks and sounds like something straight out of an old sci-fi movie. But you better believe it is real. Quantum Stealth Camouflage uses light-bending technology to provide the most active camo in the world. You're not just going to blend in with your surroundings, you're going to become one with them. It completely mimics the surrounding environment. The only thing available for this amazing camo are mock-ups, and the technology is a tightly held secret. But we do now know that the military testing has demonstrated that the materials are effective against infrared and thermal scopes, and it's allegedly already been put to military use. Number 8. HoloLens. Microsoft may have paved the way for the world of computers, but they also have their hand in the world of defense technology. And not so long ago, they were awarded a multi-year contract to supply the United States Army with their HoloLens devices. Since then, Microsoft has collected about 80,000 sets of data from soldiers to help them create their HoloLens. The technology known as the Integrated Visual Augmentation System, or IVAS, is set to assist soldiers in combat like never before. The HoloLens uses an augmented reality system to do all sorts of things, like see through smoke and even see around corners without having to put themselves in harm's way, and provides all sorts of vital information while out in the field. Number 7. Mitsubishi FX. Alright, another piece of stealth technology on our list that quite hasn't made its way into the field, but the ongoing project known as the Mitsubishi FX is gearing up to be the latest and greatest next-generation stealth fighter. The prototype is set to make its debut in 2024, with a first flight test in 2028, and as long as everything goes according to plan, then mass production can begin as early as 2031. That may seem like a long time from now, but it'll be worth the wait, seeing as how the Japanese manufacturer is always providing the country with cutting-edge technology. Since it's a stealth fighter, it's going to have to first minimize its radar cross-section, so the FX design features electromagnetic carbon-based wave absorbers in its serpentine air ducts and engines to reduce a radar reflection. And so far the stealth tests have come back pretty successful, reducing radar reflection by nearly half. The FX is also made up of small pieces of metal and dielectric materials that, when applied, add wave reflection technology on board, and its plasma stealth antenna is going to deflect radio waves. All in all, the Mitsubishi FX is going to keep things pretty quiet in the sky, which is an impressive feat considering it's already been nicknamed Godzilla. Number 6. XQ-58A Valkyrie. The United States-based Kratos Defense and Security Solutions has designed the latest and probably greatest in military drone technology. The XQ-58A Valkyrie is cheap and easily replaceable with a price tag of about $2 million each. But something that inexpensive has to have plenty of downsides, right? Wrong. The Valkyrie is designed to serve as a support fighter to manned fighter jets and can either run using its onboard AI or via direct control of its manned peers. It's a combat drone that can fight alongside pilots, scout the battlefield, and even sacrifice itself to protect the human allies if necessary. They're almost as capable as manned fighters, and because they're so cheap, the Army can produce swarms of them to completely overwhelm an enemy. The Valkyrie is part of the Skyborg program, which allows the Valkyrie to connect to F-35s and F-15EXs via encrypted data links. Soon, these combat drones will be able to go ahead of fighter jets and relay any information they gather to their manned counterparts. This will also allow fighters to engage the enemy from further away, or to avoid engagements altogether. The onset of the Valkyrie is slowly but surely ushering in the next phase of military aircraft, engagements, and artificial intelligence. Number 5. The Carmel Tank. The next entry on our list looks like it fits in perfectly in a video game, but hey, it is real. Armies all over the world are employing the smooth-looking Carmel stealth tank for all of their urban warfare needs. Whether it's in France or the Middle East, Carmel is getting the job done. It's a modern vehicle, so it's coming in with a whole slew of next-generation features. So what makes this cool tank a stealth vehicle? It's made up of modular radar-transparent armor, so good luck detecting it. And the hybrid engine makes it all but silent on its patrols and reconnaissance missions. And naturally, the sleek, dark look of the Carmel is going to make it pretty tough for the naked eye to spot it at night. If the Batmobile were just a flat-out tank, this would be it. It's also got state-of-the-art cooperative active protection, an IED alert, and neutralization system. The Carmel is also one tough nut to crack. It's also mostly automated and has built-in artificial intelligence system designed for the battlefield, so it can make those tough split-second decisions that a human can't when they're under the stress of battle. And the best thing about this thing is that it's steered and operated using an Xbox controller. Yep, just awesome. Number 4, the HMS Helsingborg K-32. When it comes to stealth vehicles, we can't let you landlubbers have all the fun, so that's why plenty of the world's navies are employing the HMS Helsingborg, simply known as the K-32. This missile corvette is a Swedish Visby-class ship, and it's one of the crown jewels of the Swedish naval fleet. It's small, but it packs a serious punch, on top of having low visibility radar cross-section and infrared signatures. The enemy isn't gonna see it on their systems probably until it's too late. But on top of all those fancy and secretive bells and whistles, the K-32 also comes with the Saab Cirrus 200 stealth fire control radar system, which is designed to provide them with lots and lots of information on the enemy. We're talking target elevation, range rate, and all of which are sent to the fire control systems, making sure that when they do fire, they never miss. The missiles are all kept below deck and are fired through the K-32's special hatches that help to maintain their stealth capability. It's got a detection range of 13 kilometers in rough waters, but when things calm down, you can crank that range up to 22 kilometers. The K-32 is one tough vessel, and it looks pretty damn cool too. Number 3, USS Zumwalt. It may have a pretty odd shape, but the USS Zumwalt is another awesome stealth vehicle. This destroyer-grade ship is under the employ of the United States Navy, and it's built with a tumble-home hull, which helps add to its stealth capabilities. And it comes equipped with a guided missile launcher that carries anti-aircraft, anti-sub, and Tomahawk strike missiles to fire at the enemy before they're ever able to realize what's happening. And all of that hardware is obviously going to cost a pretty penny, and the Zumwalt comes in with a hefty $3.5 billion price tag. But it's worth it, because that also pays for the destroyer's Raytheon Phased Array Radar, which also allows it to quickly detect all incoming aircraft and missiles, and even most other stealth ships. The Zumwalt is just flat out better than most other assault watercraft out there. It can even give the folks on board control and targeting information from nearby enemy ship missiles and guns, and the Phased Array Radar eliminates the rotating antenna, supported by angular masts, which would increase the radar cross-section. So while you may not be able to see the Zumwalt, rest assured it can see you. Number 2, smart bullets. The folks over at DARPA are always working hard to bring the United States military the latest and greatest in technology, so it should come as no surprise that they're cooking up something that you thought you'd ever only see in a video game: guided bullets. DARPA's Extreme Accuracy Tasked Ordnance is designed to give military snipers the added edge on the battlefield, as they work from a distance during poor weather conditions like high winds. Normally, a sniper needs to take literally everything into account, from wind patterns to the Coriolis effect and humidity before taking the shot. But these smart guided bullets can hone in on their targets and change course mid-air to make up for those things. So now, with DARPA's guided bullets, even the greenest of snipers out in the field will quite literally have a shot at getting the job done, or even during the worst conditions. Number 1, electromagnetic railgun. Alright, let's face it, we're living in the future and the US military seems to be consistently at the forefront of it all. The electromagnetic railgun may sound like the world-ending weapon of a James Bond villain, but alas, it is real. This massive cannon took decades of development and testing to get down, but all of that hard work paid off because it can fire a projectile well over 4,500 miles an hour at targets 100 miles away. With that type of speed, anything hit by the railgun is going to be utterly obliterated, and it's accurate too. The only real catch here is the amount of power required to fire something so heavy and so forceful, so technicians are still toiling away at perfecting the performance of the railgun, because it still runs the risk of tearing itself to shreds when it fires. And rather than using your run-of-the-mill explosives or controlled explosions, the electromagnetic railgun relies on energy, meaning something like this